Yeah, matter of fact, you smash that one by yourself so I can get a couple bites. I can get a couple more bites, my nigga.
He's being fake. Because he's
Yeah,
trying to eat all the ice cream. It's my new plant. I don't know what to name it yet. It's like 12 o'clock. Honestly, I'm just gonna get right into this message because I need to wash this off and go watch a movie, eat my vegan ice cream. So I feel like I came here to be a communicator. So there's a message that I feel like I really need to share with you guys. Hey, to my one viewer, whoever you are. So yeah. The message that I need to share with you guys really quick is understanding people even though you don't agree. So, okay. The reason why I'm saying this message is because I really feel like communication is a big necessity that we need. I feel like we are so disconnected and we have a lot of problems because our communication is horrible. And that goes in two ways. It goes from looking through life and looking at people through our own limited perspective based on our own perception, and just kind of like lost my train of thought. Assumptions. There we go. So a lot of times when we're communicating, we assume what somebody means. Some of us are very literal with words and definitions, and some of us are more, we kind of use words freely. I'm one of the people who uses words freely. I could say I could tell somebody, you're mad, you're angry. They might not really feel angry, but if their energy changes or they seem a little more riled up than usual, or their tone seems different, I'm using the word angry to describe that change in energy. I don't literally mean you're mad, you're pissed, or something like that. But if you're a little literal person, you're gonna think that I literally think that I'm saying you're mad. So one of the big things that happen in communication is assumptions. We always think we know what somebody's trying to say, and there's so many reasons why that. It could be a trigger, it could be things that we've already been through in life, and just our own misperceptions. So I feel like when we're communicating with people, we need to get a deeper understanding. It could trigger you, that's fine. I'm not saying things aren't supposed to trigger you. I get triggered sometimes, and I misperceive things sometimes. But it's questioning what you feel like you thought you heard. So if somebody says, I don't know, I don't even know what kind of like example to make up right now. I'm kind of just like going with the flow of this thing. Anyway, the point is that when somebody makes a statement towards us, uses a specific word, we can't always assume that they're using it the way it's actually defined or the way that society defines it, because there's a lot of words in this world that when you look up the definition, the way that everyone interprets it is different. For instance, the phrase "you straight," like straight means straight, but as black people you good, like we know it as you good. So there's a lot of words out there that people use to their own understanding or what they feel like they think it means, not literally what the definition is saying or how society perceives the word to usually be. So initially it can sound like somebody is saying something that they're not really trying to say, and we can all be better with trying to have people receive our message, so we can try to use words better. But then at the same time, people need to realize that maybe I'm perceiving this wrong. So it's both sides, communication, and try to get a deeper understanding. But the real message of this video is understanding people even though you don't agree. So, for instance, I'm watching First 48 and somebody murders somebody. And they were triggered. There's so many reasons why people's brain, for a split second, changes into something that they're not. It's happened to me before. Not in some of the ways that, you know, the most intense ways that it can happen to other people, but, you know, we all come here with our own personalities, and what we're presented can feed different parts of those personalities, or make some of those traits worse than what they really could be. So, you know, I could be watching a documentary on First 48, and this dude, which this has really happened. I'm going based off of stuff that I really remember. Somebody shooting up the school. Now, I've been bullied, and I didn't decide to go shoot up my school. Even though, you know, I really, really wanted to do something. Like, that dark side of me was just like, let them know you're not the one to play with. But I have a conscience that's kind of like thinks about the negative things that will happen. Like, oh girl, you will go to jail, or this, you know, you're gonna literally inflict harm on somebody. So I'll be watching First 48, and it's all kinds of people doing crazy stuff on there, right? People killing their families, people shooting up schools, killing little kids, all kinds of stuff that I feel like I don't understand. Not that I actually don't understand, but I wouldn't do. And I'm like, that is crazy, like, you know? But when you break it down, it's like everyone has a different tolerance. Everybody has sorry guys, this is a lot. I want to make sure I'm saying this right. Everyone, like I said, has a different tolerance. So, you know, a lot of times in life, let's say being a stripper, for instance, people are like, oh, I would never be a stripper. I would never sell my body. I would never sell crack. I would never sell weed. I would never. All these things that they say they would never do. Or they look down on people who do certain stuff. They grew up with 2 parents in the home. They grew up with a supporting family. They grew up abundantly. They didn't have to live in the projects. They didn't see their brother get murdered. They didn't see murders on murders on murders. So many things that these people never been presented with. Never being a single mother without help. There's so many situations that people who do the things that, you know, we tend to look down on, or we say, oh, I would never do that, trying to like judge people or think that we're better than them. We've never been presented that situation. So we could think we're better all we want. And God has a funny way of humbling us. So I feel like this world would be better if we could put ourselves in other people's shoes. Okay, well, I kind of like look down on this, and I'm not gonna lie to myself like, oh, I look down on a woman being like this, or, you know, a certain, like, people just acting like this or doing this, whatever that may be, whatever that action or mind frame that you're kind of looking down may be. But then checking yourself, humbling yourself, like, well, I wonder what they've been through. I wonder what happened in their life that made them, you know, think that this was okay. And having empathy, because, you know I was blessed with a sound mind. I know I was blessed with a strong spirit, and not everybody was. But that doesn't make me better than anybody, because I could have easily been presented the things that they were presented in life. You're never better than anybody. It's always up to chance, the type of family we're born into, the people we get to be around, the school we grow up in. That's not up to us. We have no control over that. So for you to make a comment or look at life as, oh, this is disgusting, or I wouldn't do this. I'm not saying there's not things out there that aren't disgusting or, aren't hard to grasp. But it's realizing that everyone is presented with a different life. Everyone's presented with a different situation. And sometimes people are presented the same thing. Sometimes 4 people grow up the same way. But depending on their personality and what's instilled in them, still determines the type of person that they are. And some of us can't help who we are. It's who we are. I'm a sensitive person. I will cry about stuff. I can't hold back my tears sometimes. That doesn't make me weak. Some people can. They can feel all their emotions and never cry about nothing. Because that's the type of person who they are. I don't know if it's astrology. I don't know if it's just how God, the Most High, the creator of this world, fucking genetics, whatever, that creates those type of things. But there's a factor. And we don't always all have the same factor. And that's true. Some of us grow up in America. Some of us grow up in different parts of the country. And that has a factor of how you react to things, how you view the world, the type of actions you decide to make. On top of what kind of family did you grow up with? What were you exposed to and at what age? What happened to you? What kind of trauma do you have? All these different factors. Some people grew up in schools and got diplomas, graduation diplomas from schools that are not accredited. That shows you what type of school that is. And then people laugh at people who can't read or, just, oh my God, it's just so many different lanes of life that you could be presented with. And for you to look down on somebody or say, I wouldn't do this, or, I wouldn't be this way, or like just ever looking down on anybody and what decisions they make, it's messed up. It's messed up because we're all presented with different things in life. And how do you know what you would or wouldn't do? You're saying that because your mom, and you had your mom and your dad, or you might have your mom and a big family to look after you. That creates a different emotional pattern, thought pattern, everything, versus somebody who doesn't have anybody, who grew up in a foster home. Those are 2 different people who are going to make 2 completely different decisions because of the reinforcement that they've been through in life. If you grew up with a family that's always telling you you're beautiful, you're smart, you can do whatever you want to do, versus a family like, you ain't who are you? Who do you think you are to even think you can accomplish this? And you're getting told that every day. You don't think these 2 people are going to make different choices? It doesn't make them bad. It doesn't make them toxic. It means that they need to heal. Even if somebody murders or does something very disgusting. There's things that I really don't agree with and hurts me to see going on in this world. But I have enough understanding of this world and energy and how messed up that this society is and the evil forces that are in this world to be like, but I understand. And I don't have an opinion. I don't shame people for the things that they decide to do. Because at the end of the day, that easily could have been me. It wasn't up to me. I didn't get to choose my parents. I didn't get to choose what type of family I grew up in. I didn't even get to choose my skin color. That all happened by chance. I just got to be this person. I don't know what it's like to grow up in Russia, a 3rd world country, in Africa where they're having civil war. That makes right and wrong. Even though I feel like there's a real right and wrong to somebody else who grew up in these type of environments where it's like, man, like, I know we all come here programmed to love, programmed to be good people. And when we're young and we're introduced to these negative things, it's kind of like you have to create this ego personality to cope with what's going on around you. And sometimes some of us, a lot of us, stay stuck in that. And people do crappy things because of the world we live in. And it's not always that deep. But I just feel like this world would be better if we could get on that level with everybody, no matter how disgusting the action is. Because there's some pretty disgusting actions. But we know evil rules this world. We know there's evil energy, evil intentions. How do they get created? Somebody doesn't just come here born evil. If you put a child into the wilderness without any direction, I don't think all of a sudden they're just going to want to kill. If they've never been through any trauma or seen any violence, I don't think somebody's just going to want to kill. I feel like the things that we've been presented in life, the things that we've been exposed to, create a lot of the things that people do. Us, other people, some are good, some are bad. Some of us have more control over our impulses, because I kind of think everyone has dark impulses. They play out differently, you know? So I just don't know if you can receive this, but if you can, think about that. This world will be better if we can learn how to understand people without agreeing. I don't have to agree with you being a child molester. I don't have to agree with you. But 9.5 times out of 10, a child molester was a child that was molested. Over and over and over. So what do we do about that? Do we continue to point the finger and call people ugly? Or do we talk about the trauma? Because we have to face it. The only way to heal is to face it. And be real about it. And get help for these people. And get help for ourselves. Or do we keep pointing the finger and reinforcing this trauma? And just calling everyone toxic and crappy people and stuff. Not everyone can handle the things that they've been through in life. I have trauma that I don't remember, that I blocked out because it was too painful. Who knows what would have happened to me if I consciously knew. Who would I be? Who would I be if my life was different? Who would I be if I didn't go through the things that I've been through in life? Who would I be if I went through things worse in my life? Who would I be if I grew up in a different city than I grew up in? Who would I be if I had a different mom, if I had a different dad? Those all play a factor into the decisions we make, into the people we are, into the life that we choose to live. If you grow up in a Christian family, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be Christian. If you grow up Catholic, you're going to be Catholic. A lot of the things that we like, a lot of the ways that we think, don't necessarily come from us. They come from what we've been presented in life. And that's just a fact. And so that's why I think it's really important to understand people, rather you agree with them or not. Because a lot of times when we're communicating, we want to block out whatever somebody is saying. And we can't wait to reply just to prove them wrong, just to tell them I have something better to say. Not really listening to other people. And that's hurtful. And that's mean. And I don't think that's something that we should be doing. I think we should be understanding each other and figuring out how this world got to this state that it's in. How did we get to this point? You know? Just a lot of thoughts. So if y'all can think on that for me, that's all I have for you guys tonight. And I just really want you guys to think about that, because it's time to change the world. It's time to be more compassionate, more empathetic, even if it's something ugly. We have to help each other heal. You know, even Jesus blessed his enemies. Even Jesus prayed for his enemies. In the Bible, it tells you to pray for your enemies. It tells you that no matter what somebody does to you, pray for them. Endure. Suffer what you're going through. It never says anything other than that. So I really think it's time to get back to the core of who we are and really trying to understand each other. God used murderers as people to spread his message. I don't care if you call it a his or a her. It's not up to me. It's not my problem. You know, I'm just gonna say his. Hey girl. But God used people who murdered for his glory. So I think it's time for us to start living in that, to start realizing we're all fucked up. We all have done something wrong. A lot of us try to hide it, and I know that. I've been around plenty of people. I've been around plenty of people who look down on stuff and try to act like they're holier than thou, like they're better than people, and having just as much effed up mentalities and personalities as somebody that they're judging. Maybe even worse, because they're judging, because they think they're better, because they think they got it figured out. None of us have it figured out. None of us.